Fight fans, fight fans, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And as promised, I'm going to give you my prediction video concerning the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Rocky Feilding for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship of the World. So, I took time to look at Rocky Feilding's resume, seen some highlights, seen some, a couple full fights with him, and what he has to offer. He can be aggressive. He's passive aggressive as a fighter. That could be a good or bad thing fighting Canelo because, again, Canelo is a counterpuncher, right? He's mostly a counterpuncher for the most part. And so he waits for openings. If you notice, Canelo really doesn't act. He reacts. And that it's a lot you have to look forward to in this fight because the way Rocky fights, if he uses his height, he can make it very difficult for Canelo. Now, if he goes inside and trying to do some, if he makes it easy for Canelo will use that for his advantage because he wants someone to come right at him. That's why he hated fighting guys like Lara and Mayweather. Mayweather really he baited him. It was kind of a cat and mouse game Mayweather did with him. But Lara, he hated guys like Lara because Lara would fight him from the outside. He wants to invite you in so he can set up those traps, set up those combinations, hook to the body, uppercut to the body, to the head, you know what I mean? And do a nice little, somewhat of a Joe Frazier but, much more strategically placed than Frazier. Because, Frazier used to get in front of you and work his magic right in the center of your chest, ripping uppercuts and hooks, you know what I mean? And doing a little dance with it, you know what I mean? So whenever you move, he would move right with you and sync and constantly throwing punches, you know what I mean? But Canelo wants you to come to him in spots. Okay, so he's not necessarily a guy that's going to come towards you, but he wants you to come towards him, kind of like the opposite of doing the same thing that Frazier would do, but not coming at you like Frazier would do. He would not make the commitment to come towards you to cut off the ring and make these holes or whatever, and make these and open up these possibilities of punches to land. What he does, he wants you to come towards him. You know what I mean? So he has his guard high. Okay, so if Rocky comes in to try to initiate, let's say an uppercut. Okay, he tries to initiate an uppercut. Canelo either feints, and takes a step back, throw a right, counter that uppercut, or hook, counter that uppercut with that hook, and he's good, or a hook to the body and hook upstairs, but that's if Rocky wants to come in like that, which that's why him being somewhat passive, it could work for him. And since he's passive aggressive, you'll see he will get aggressive at times when he sees openings. So it's up to Canelo really to work himself inside. You know what I mean? But I don't really see, it depends because he would have to make Canelo come inside. You know what I mean? By peppering him with that jab, setting that jab up with the right hand. He could use that reach and it could be a very difficult fight for Canelo. That's the thing. That's only if Rocky's disciplined enough to do that. Because, a guy like Canelo's waiting for the slip, waiting to slip off the jab and counter with the right, at the left, you know what I'm saying? But the good thing about this is he's fighting a legitimate big guy, a big guy with power, Everyone looks at the Chavez Jr. fight, which Chavez Jr. was a dead man. Let's face it. He was a big mannequin. You know what I mean? He was just a punching bag because there was no way in hell, let alone making 168. He made 164.5. He was weaker than the weakest link in that fight. Okay. So this is a legitimate big guy. Now, they do have a rematch clause, and those are advantages of being the A side. It just comes with the territory. But I feel, because I'm like, well, wow, how would you give me a rematch clause and I'm the damn champion, right? It just told you that money talks, right? Money talks. So, but he is getting in there with a legitimate, bigger, stronger guy, and so a lot of questions will be answered Saturday night. Canelo's power. Canelo's not really a big power. And then even though he was beating up on that quote unquote mannequin or dead man in the ring, which is Chavez Jr., he couldn't put Chavez Jr. down. Okay. And a lot of other fighters did at that same weight class. That tells you something. Look at Fonfora. You know what I'm saying? Look at, he quit against Fonfora, right? So, that tells you a lot about, Canelo's punching power. If you compare that Fonfora's power, and Fonfora is not even a power guy. He throws volumes of punches, but he's not known as a power puncher. You know what I'm saying? So it just shows you something about Canelo's power coming from a different weight class, and he hit Chavez with everything that he could hit him with. He did the same number on Angulo, but of course that was at 155. So, when you move on up the trough, you go up in weight. It just shows you what punches affect those particular guys at that particular weight class. So, can he hurt Rocky? In other words, saying all that to say that, can he hurt the man with the punching power that he has at 168? He's never fought there before, but the good thing is Rocky is the weakest link up there. You know what I'm saying? So that is a good guy to start off with. I can dig that. You're going to 168. You don't know what the hell's up there. Those guys might punch like light heavyweights. It's only the one step down, right? So, we just have to see. But I see Canelo, he looks great in camp. That's a good thing. Rocky just looks like a normal, a normal working class fellow. You know what I mean? There's nothing that sticks out about him. He just looks like a guy that works at a damn bookstore or something like that. You know what I mean? And Canelo, he got the buzz cut, like got that Sparta cut. You know what I'm saying? So he's ready for battle. Red-headed Spartan. You know what I mean? El Cinnamon. So, but no, I think that, I think they picked this fight because they wanted to see what Canelo can do. Is it a gamble? Not as much. It's not as bigger gamble than you think, because they got the rehydration clause. So he can't balloon up to a crazy weight, right? He can't go to 178. So once he gets to 179, it's over with. I don't even know if I think either the belt will be stripped from him or, he'll get fined heavy or something like that, But so they're making sure that he doesn't get those big advantages due to his size. You don't want to be like Gotti Gamache, and Gotti comes in at 160 and destroys Gamache in like 3 rounds, and that's crazy. I watch that fight sometimes, the highlights of Gotti and stuff. I think I saw it yesterday. And Gamache was asleep before he hit the ground. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. So they don't want things like that to happen, in other words. But I give it to Canelo. I think Canelo will find a way with his great punching variety and his counterpunching, abilities, to lure the bigger guy in. You know what I'm saying? Because I think the only way Canelo will come in, like he did with Golovkin in the second fight, would be if Rocky's peppering him with that jab and staying to his game. If that's the game plan. I don't know what his game plan is, but that's what would be. If I was training him, I would tell him, stay on the outside, box the smaller dude, do it all night long. Jab, right hand, left hook, followed by the jab, hook off the jab, everything with the jab. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. That could work. Yeah, it would be a boring fight. It would be a fight where you're looking for the smaller guy to do something, and he would have to do something. Being Canelo Alvarez. So, yeah, I think that if that fight happens, like if he fights that fight like that, he could give Canelo some problems. But if he tries to come in and try to fight him or whatever, Canelo's going to eat his body up. He's going to leave openings inside because he's too long and too rangy to fight on the inside with a shorter fighter. It's stupid anyway, right? So he's just going against the art of nature. when he does that, and Canelo will know it. Him being having the experience that he has. Oh, you're coming inside, so you're giving me all the advantages, huh? Okay, let me use them. And that's what's going to happen. And it might be a KO. It might be like, and it'll be a late round stoppage if it's anything. It won't be anything early unless freaking Rocky has this power that no one anticipates and knocks out Canelo, right? But if Canelo knocks out Rocky, it would be in the 9th or 10th round, and it'll be by body punching, liver shots. That's what my prediction. So anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Canelo Alvarez and Rocky Feilding. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.